Virgo, pick up the phone, not literally, not yet, but somewhere in the body, in the chest, in the hands, in that particular alertness that arrives before the mind has caught up with what the instincts already know. Something may be signaling, pay attention. Something is moving. Something is close. Some people may have felt this in recent days. A low, steady hum beneath the ordinary. A sense of standing just before something, not knowing its shape, not knowing its name, but feeling its proximity, the way you feel weather before it arrives. The pressure change, the stillness before motion, the air holding itself differently than it did the day before. This is not anxiety. Or if it resembles anxiety, it is the kind that lives right alongside anticipation, the two so closely related that the body cannot always tell them apart. The trembling before something difficult and the trembling before something wonderful can feel from the inside almost identical. What matters is what you do with the trembling. There is a particular rhythm to the hours just before change. They tend to look unremarkable. That is perhaps their most disorienting quality. The morning that precedes a turning point rarely announces itself as significant. The coffee tastes the same. The light through the window falls in the same familiar angles. The day begins the way days always begin, with small motions, small decisions, the quiet machinery of routine running exactly as it always has. And then something rings, something arrives, something is said or written, or finally, after a long and effortful silence, done, and the day that looked like every other day reveals itself, in retrospect, to have been the day, the one that divided time into before and after. Some people may be living in the last hours of a before right now without knowing it. Moving through ordinary motions, unaware that the ordinary is about to be interrupted by something that has, in fact, been building for a very long time. Let us talk about what builds in silence. There are conversations that exist fully formed in someone's interior long before they ever reach the air between two people. Conversations assembled in the small hours, in the shower, on long drives when the radio is off and the mind is left alone with what it actually thinks. In the private theater of the almost asleep, where honesty is less guarded and what is real tends to surface, someone may have been having one of these interior conversations about you, about something that involves you, about a decision, a feeling, a realization that arrived perhaps quietly and has been growing louder ever since demanding, with increasing insistence to be moved from the private into the shared. Some people hold things back not from cruelty and not from indifference, but from a kind of care that has tipped over time into overcaution. They wait for the perfect moment. They revise the words. They test the courage and find it sufficient and then test it again just to be sure. They circle the truth the way a bird circles before landing, reading the air, reading the ground, reading everything until finally the circling becomes more exhausting than the landing. And they land. That landing may be approaching, and when it comes, it may come as a call, as a message, as a voice on the other end of something saying what it has been privately rehearsing, with less polish than intended and more truth than expected. Chuckle, quiet, almost wondering. It is worth pausing on the image of a phone. There is something vulnerable about a call that does not exist in a message. A message can be drafted and redrafted, edited until the rawness is smoothed away, delayed until the moment feels right. But a call, a real call, voice to voice, is immediate, unedited. The tremor in the breath is audible. The pause before the difficult sentence cannot be deleted. What is felt comes through whether it was meant to or not. Someone who calls, truly calls, in a moment of significance is making a choice to be heard completely. Not just the words, the voice carrying the words, the realness underneath them. Some people may receive something like this in the hours or days ahead, not necessarily a literal call, but a communication that carries that same quality of unguardedness, that same willingness to be imperfect and present and honest all at once. The digital equivalent of a voice that shakes slightly and speaks anyway. Whew, when that arrives, receive it fully, with the same bravery it took to send. There is something else worth examining in this moment. The word big, because sometimes the biggest things arrive in the smallest packages. A single line, a question asked directly for the first time, 3 words or 4 or just one, spoken with a weight that makes it clear this is not casual, this is not passing, this is not the kind of thing that gets unsaid once it has been said. Some people have been waiting, perhaps without fully admitting it, for exactly this kind of small and enormous thing. The confirmation of something they suspected but could not be certain of, the resolution of an ambiguity that has been quietly consuming more energy than it should, the moment when someone else's interior finally becomes visible and what is visible inside them is unmistakably something real, something directed at you, and the response that rises in you when this arrives, that first instinctive, unperformed response before the mind has had time to intervene and complicate, that response may tell you more about what you actually want than weeks of careful deliberation ever could. Trust it, or at minimum, do not dismiss it before you have had the chance to truly hear it. Let us speak for a moment about readiness, because the title of this reflection contains a word worth sitting with: ready. Some people may feel, as they sense something approaching, that they are not quite ready, that there is more healing to do, more clarity to achieve, more of the past to process before they can receive something new with open hands. This feeling is understandable. It is also, sometimes, a story the fear tells to delay what the heart already wants. Readiness is rarely a destination you arrive at and then stay. It is more often a choice made in a specific moment, with full awareness that you are not perfect, not fully healed, not without your complications and your history and your carefully protected tender places. The choice to say, even so, even as I am, even now. Some of the most important moments in a human life are entered imperfectly, with hesitation still present, with old fear still audible in the background, but entered nonetheless because something in the person recognized that waiting for the fear to disappear entirely would mean waiting forever. You are more ready than you think. Not for everything, not without reservation, but for the possibility of something real, offered honestly, by someone willing to risk being seen, you may be more prepared than you have been allowing yourself to believe. There is a quality that belongs specifically to Monday. The beginning of something, the first page, the fresh start that the calendar offers every 7 days, whether we have earned it or not. There is a reason certain things choose Monday to arrive, not by supernatural design, but because human beings tend to gather their courage at beginnings, to make the calls they have been putting off, to send the message drafted and saved and reopened a dozen times, to finally do the thing that the weekend gave them just enough distance and quiet to decide they were ready for. Some people may find that this particular Monday carries an unusual weight, a density of possibility, the sense of several things, some known, some not yet, fully visible, converging at once toward a single point in time. Not every Monday delivers this, but some do. And the ones that do tend to be recognizable, not in advance, not with certainty, but in the body. In that particular alertness, in the inexplicable sense of standing at the edge of something just before the ground changes beneath the feet. And so the phone may ring, or the message may arrive, or a door may open in some unexpected form, a conversation begun sideways, arriving somewhere direct, a moment of ordinary contact that tilts suddenly into something neither party quite planned for and both of them needed. What comes may be confirmation of something you have already half known. What comes may be a surprise, so clean and complete it briefly empties the mind of everything except presence. What comes may be an invitation not demanding an immediate answer, not requiring you to have everything figured out, but offering something real and asking only that you receive it honestly. Some things announce themselves quietly. A single ring in the silence of an ordinary afternoon, a name appearing on a screen at an unexpected hour, a voice familiar or new carrying something in it that was not there before, or perhaps always was there, and you simply needed the right moment, the right Monday, the right evening, the right quality of attention to finally hear it clearly. Stay close to your phone. Stay close to yourself. And when something big arrives in whatever soft or sudden form it chooses, let yourself be present enough to feel the full weight of it. Because some things, once received, change the shape of what comes after. Not with noise, not with announcement, just a ring, a breath, a voice, and everything quietly different.